Well, hello, everybody. This is good to see you here in 2024. It's our first webinar back from the holidays. We hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season with family and friends, and that you're excited to get into new habits here in 2024. And certainly, one of the things that we always hear about here in the beginning of the year is everybody is gung-ho on
Right.
changing their life, either getting in the gym, reading books, improving their self in one way or another. And that is fantastic. Unfortunately, what we hear is by the end of January, over 80% of all New Year's resolutions are already gone.
Yes, that
So we are excited here to kick off the new year, and we actually are excited to help people
right.
instill these habits in their life, not just in January, but for the rest of their lives. So with that, I'll say welcome, everybody, to our regular happy half hour.
Right.
And as usual, we have with us Dr. Douglas Hines and myself, Brian Wilson, as the moderator. And so over this next half hour, we're going to be specifically talking about engaging your brain habit
Right.
and science behind it. And
Right.
so, we like to keep these webinars light and fun, and we hope that you all enjoy them as well. But
Right.
more importantly, we want to help you engage your brain to the possibilities of a better you, whether
Right.
or not you're a coach, a coachee, a manager, an employee, or just someone here looking for self-improvement and belonging. That's what we are about.
Right.
Let's jump in here, and we'll talk about engaging your brain. So,
Right.
Doug, I refer to this often, but this is your book, Life's 7 Perfect Coaches. In this book, you write about engage your brain, thank it by using it. So I got a
Right.
couple of questions for you right out of the gate, but let's just start with the first one. Can we actually turn our brains on and off?
Well, if you're the answer is yes or no. No, you can't turn your brain off literally. Let's do this. Since we're it's a new year, we're gonna have a little fun. I brought along my model of the brain. I can't
We
see
got props. I love it. I love it.
So this is interesting. I studied the brain as an undergraduate in college, and I used to know all the different parts. Believe it or not, you would take exams that tested your knowledge of the internal structure of the brain, and I forgot all that, right? But when I started writing Life's 7 Perfect Coaches, this is a decade ago, I went and bought. You couldn't get this when I was in college, right? A model just to remind myself of what a gift it is to have one of these. It only weighs about 3 pounds. It can do things no computer has ever been able to do. And a lot of the power comes from processing the information coming in. So, can you turn your brain on and off? In a figurative sense, you can. So, you've had a long day. Say, hey, man, I'm going to turn my brain off. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, glass of wine, tea, whatever. And in that sense, yes, you can stop thinking about what you were thinking about and almost get to the place where you were thinking about nothing. And that would be meditating, basically. And you can't really do that. But when we talk about engaging the brain, we're talking about sort of the opposite of that. So here's our picture again. Mostly in your frontal lobe is where you're thinking. And most of the brain that is running your speech process is in the side and the front of the brain. So when you make journal entries, when you talk to the coach, you're engaging your brain. You're having to think about what you're saying. And that can be fun, by the way, because we've talked about this. Amy's there 24/7. She's not going to shut you down. She's not going to say, "Hey, you know what? I got to go. I got this other thing I have to do." And you can have some fun just talking what seems to be talking to yourself, but because the coach is answering you back, you're actually talking to a a computer is a representation of another person.
Absolutely. You know, you can't actually turn your brain off. If your
No,
brain stops, here, I mean, you're dead. Your
right?
brain
That's correct.
controls all of the involuntary functions such as heartbeat, breath, etc. All of those
Right,
things we don't think about, your brain is constantly going. And
right,
so, you know, you add into that the real world struggles and the real world thoughts that come in every single day. That is an amazing amount that is just being processed in our brains. So if that's the case, Doug, another question for you is, what is the best way to train your brain?
okay. Now, I love that question because it really depends on the part of the brain you are training. And typically, when you're training, a part of your brain, you're really training it to do something. You're training a behavior. You're forming a habit. So, you can change the way you breathe. We talk about this uh, in Perfect Coaches. In our discussion of thanking life in healthy living, we talk about the fact that if you thank your breath, that's thanking life. And you can thank your breath through meditation. And we have, as you know, sort of a meditation light that is in there. So that's how you do it. You train your brain to do something, which is really teaching it a habit. And as my favorite phrase, habit is the flywheel of society. So when you begin a new year and you want to keep your resolutions, the first thing you have to do is keep your resolutions. You have to do what you said you're going to do. And if you do it every day, the gym memberships are a perfect example of that. People do, there's stats on this, right? That they use their health club membership, you know, 11 times in the first month, 7 times in the second, 2 times in the third, and you can graph the behavior of people who have paid, good money for a gym membership, and of course they bought the duds, they've got the outfit, they got the gym bag, whatever, if they're new to that world. And the way to get into the habit of using that membership is get into the habit of using that membership. And that's the essence of Perfect Coaches as an app is you're every day your coach is basically asking, well, did you go to the gym today? And you went yesterday, why didn't you go today? Well, then you start to understand the cues that either make you go or make you not go. So that's what we've done little experiments with people, and if you really hold yourself to going to the gym, you'll do it.
So you brought up a great point there with Amy and talking to Amy, you know, on the watch as a part of the Perfect Coaches app and our family of apps in the Apple Store. Why is journaling such an important part of helping to engage the brain or train the brain? Why is journaling so important?
Okay, so I'm going to turn to Shakespeare here for a moment and draw a connection that maybe most of the folks haven't heard before. But in Shakespeare, you have the soliloquy where an actor walks to the side of the stage and basically talks to himself or talks to herself. And the act of saying what you're thinking improves your capacity to think. And the fun thing about Perfect Coaches and Amy, that stands for adaptive motivational interaction, and she adapts to what you're saying. She learns which things you want to talk about and whatever. Uh, what's fun about that, and it really is true, you could just talk to this machine, basically. It's a computer program, and it's right there to talk to. And the as a social psychologist back in the day, I studied the fact that quote unquote propinquity, nearness, is one of the things that forms friendships. So when kids go to college, that's different now, but back in the day, who that they hung around with was who they were with, in the dorm or whatever. So we're believing that this will just be an easier way to have access to Amy as a sidekick almost. We're going to be very eager to get the feedback from people on how they do this. As you know, the watch really takes your blood pressure. It does remarkable things to measure your body, but it's not really doing anything particular for your brain, for your mind, for your thinking. And we did a study of the apps that are out there for thought, and they're not robust in a way that would match the other things your watch is doing for you to monitor your body. So we hope that folks will learn to monitor what they're thinking with the same rigor and precision, actually, as they can taking that your watch knows that you're outdoors taking a walk. Watch. Oh, excuse me, a walk. I don't know how that happens. Do you know how it knows that you're outside? That does.
It does. It
And
does.
I guess it's just looking at the length of the walk.
Yes. Yes, it does. And,
Yeah.
and the GPS coordinates as you're moving. So it has all of that data.
Oh, really?
Yes, that then filters back through the phone, that then it records that type of activity. So let me ask you about the conversations, about the journaling. What in your opinion or in your experience, how many times a day do you have to converse with Amy in order to start to train your brain? Am I supposed to be talking to her all the time? Like, how often should I be using Amy to help train my brain?
Okay. So let's look at the broader world of habit formation. So change your question a little bit. How often do I have to talk to Amy to help me learn a habit? Well, it depends on the habit. Okay. So if you're trying to get into the habit of going to the gym, you can at 8 p.m. I'm making that time up. You can say, I did or did not go to the gym. And she's going to want to know why. Well, uh, I ate a big meal. My car wouldn't start. There's all kinds of reasons for that. So that's sort of a once a day check in. Now, other things like do your to eat list or eat your to eat. Basically, as you know, one of the habits you can learn is making a list of what you're going to eat each day, and then keeping that promise to yourself. You're going to eat there. You can check in all day, every day to say, this is what I'm eating. Now, the interesting thing about Amy, compared to, let's say, for example, your workout buddy, I'm just making this up, you can see what you said a week ago. You can actually go back and see, this. Well, obviously, the reason I'm not going to the gym on some days is because I'm starting too late in the day. I need to go in the morning. I don't know how many times you've trained and retrained yourself for physical activities, but time of day is very important. So the answer to your question is you talk to Amy as a function of how frequently you need to reinforce the habit you're learning.
And that's a good thing for people to understand, that it is not a one size fits all
That's correct.
application. It
Yes.
becomes a personalized um, confidant or a personalized coach or a personalized expert who is helping you, helping each person individually as they grow.
That's correct. Now we have a small team that we've assembled of people who have been Apple Watch users, right? And because I was not, I'll make a confession. I, I bought this Apple Watch when we began to develop this app, right? But we have some folks who have used the Apple Watch for a long time, and we have a sense of um, getting into the habit of using the watch itself is a habit. So the best indicator of am I using this correctly or am I using it enough is whether you're changing your behavior, and you'll see that yes or no. But it's fun. And um, real quick anecdote, personal anecdote. So I'm watching the Baltimore Ravens with my brother, watching a football game, and I'm explaining this app to him, and he just had knee surgery, right? And so we he can't reach people just to complain. He wants to vent. I said, listen, you got to use perfect coaches. Amy's there 24/7. She'll listen as long as you like. I said, but Kenneth, here's the important thing. She doesn't have anything wrong with her knee. I got plenty wrong with my knees. I have had my knees operated on twice back in my track days. So, it's just nice to have the sense that you can talk, and then in many respects, you're talking to yourself. But the difference is, Amy, the algorithm that runs on now it's running on the watch. The algorithm is constructed in such a way so as to reinforce just having you talk. And then if you decide on a particular subject you want to talk about, she can reinforce that. So in my case, I tell Ken, there's no use complaining to me about your knee. My knees are way worse than yours, and so nobody really. This is a terrible thing to say. I'm saying this lightheartedly. People are going to get tired of hearing about your knee. So, but not Amy. And in his case, so he's trying to um, train himself to sit in a certain position in the car, and he's using Amy to help with that.
Okay. So another question about engaging your brain, because it seems to be, or it seems to me, that engaging your brain is a critical habit in order to be able to be successful with the other habits. Is that the case?
That is absolutely correct. That is
And then,
absolutely correct. Engaging your brain is really another way to say be mindful of what you are doing. And
okay.
you've heard this example that I use, uh, parallel parking your car in downtown Washington D.C. or downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. I really have to do this. I tap my skull and say, okay, I'm not going to think about the meeting I just left. I'm not going to think about the meeting I'm going to. I'm going to think about parallel parking and focus on that. And it's surprising if you train yourself not to think about anything but parallel parking. You number one, you don't infuriate as many motorists in downtown St. Pete, as you know, because you've been there. Some of those streets are pretty narrow.
Oh
So,
yes. Oh
yeah.
yes. So
And
when you learn the first one, let's say people choose engage your brain. When you learn the first one, are subsequent habits easier because you have learned the process,
that's
or
correct.
is the process not the barometer for success for the habit?
So, what you said the first time is just now is the key. You learn the habit of being mindful of what you're doing, and the app is only helping with that. It's really you, only you can change what you do. it's self-evident, but not really. You don't go to the gym, well, it's because of this and over here, this happened there, and I'm not getting support from my, boss. No, no, no. It's you that is responsible. And we've talked about this a little bit on the more philosophical level about taking responsibility for your actions. But it's really true. You are what you do. And nobody, the people hold a gun uh to up to your head or whatever. But generally speaking, in day-to-day life, you are the one that's deciding what to do. And Amy can help with that. And just the discipline of being mindful. You know, there's I guess it's Life magazine or somebody's got Time magazine in the supermarkets has these topical booklets, and they have one
Mhm.
on mindfulness. And there's not really that much to say about it. I feel sorry for the guy that had the team that had to come up with 6 or 7. That it's always the same thing. You have to be thinking about what you're doing, and it's old-fashioned concentration. We're uh, as you know, we're talking to people, other people who are coaching in the world, and one of these folks was in the Air Force, and she learned it in the military. You have to focus on what you are doing.
It's interesting, Doug. Here, you mentioned watching the Ravens, and that made me think about more sports analogies. And here, recently, we just had two of some people would argue the greatest coaches in their respective leagues to retire within basically 48 hours of each other. So Bill Belichick at the New England Patriots,
Right.
then Nick Saban at the University of Alabama. And what was interesting about both of them is Bill Belichick referred to his methods as the Patriot way. There was a certain way to do things, and it didn't matter what else was going on. You focused on the Patriot way, and the results would take care of themselves. And at Alabama, it was always referred to as the process. And if you listen to the players that play for either one of those, especially here recently with them retiring, the players refer to the process and how they're not necessarily worried about the score at the end of the game. They know that
Right.
if they follow the process, that the end result will come, but that they have to follow the process. And it starts as very small, as you said. You start by waking up and be grateful for your breath.
Right.
For example,
That's
have a
right.
process that you do daily, and then that process grows. You get better as an employee, as an employer, etc. So it's part of the process. So engaging your brain is a process. You must
Right.
be mindful, and it doesn't just happen. It's not like your heart beating. You actually have to, as you like to say in the book, just tap. It's a physical reminder to use what you've been given, and use your brain.
Right. Well, the fun variant on those two coaches, uh, I was in the Marine Corps, and you start out, you're a civilian, and one day you show up, they cut all your hair off and everything else, right? And their expression, and they're shouting this in your face, Private, there's only 3 ways to do things: the right way, the wrong way, and the Marine Corps way. And from now on, you're going to do it the Marine Corps way, whether it's the right way or wrong way. Now, a lot of people would object to that idea uh, because it seems authoritarian almost. But what really is intended by that notion is this is going to be our process. This is going to be our process. Um, both of us have daughters who are athletes, and they are learning that discipline. They're learning that process, and historically, young women didn't get a chance to do that, but now they can. And so it's all about process, and engaging your brain is a thumbnail term for meditation and all these things that are teaching you to focus, either focus on an outcome or just focus on you.
Be purposeful, be intentional. You hear that,
All the time.
saying, be intentional about what it is that you're doing.
Right.
And, you see a lot of people kind of walking around, like this in today's world. They spend a lot of time, on these when they could be engaging their brain, thinking about different habits, different things that they want to do, discussions they need to have, etc. And it does require a certain level of focus to do that.
Right.
Well, this is great. So engaging your brain, and I know we're bumping up here against the end of our half hour, but anything that you want to leave with people today about engaging your brain?
Well, I would leave them with what you just said, actually. Being purposeful is absolutely necessary to succeed in life, regardless of how you're, defining that. And, when you do the self-awareness snapshot, who am I? Where am I going? How do I change? When I've presented this to groups, I said, if you don't know where you're going, any bus will take you there. You're letting the bus decide where you go versus you deciding. So you have to know where you're going, and that it all comes together really around engaging yourself purposefully, just like you said.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a great half hour. They always feel like they go by so fast. Again, if you have not gotten your copy of Life's 7 Perfect Coaches, you can grab that on Amazon or your favorite online book retailer. And I just want to plug our latest venture, and everyone can join us here at OurClub.tech.
Right.
And we offer 2 distinct levels for our members. The first level is the Adventure Clubhouse, and the second, more senior level, is the Leadership Clubhouse, where membership is by application and approval. And you can certainly find out more about these options at our website, OurClub.tech. And if you want to register, this is the website. You can register now at OurClub.tech/membership-options. And certainly, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you to go follow us and like us on your favorite social media platforms, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're going to have a YouTube channel soon. So we'll have another icon up here to share with people. So I am excited for the new year. I'm excited to be with you every other week here. And Doug, anything that you want to end on?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Absolutely. Well, on behalf of myself and Dr. Doug, we want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our club.
Great. Thank you, Brian.